recent times we've seen Manly be almost indestructible in defence. They showed last week that they are a little bit vulnerable in some areas.
The Magpies take the field and get a big reception from the home crowd. Their last game at home this season. Andrew Leeds at fullback. Tony Wall is one winger. Darren Willis moves into the centres alongside Paul Bell. Brad Hughes gets his chance in first grade on the wing. Brandon Pearson at 5'8". Kevin McGuinness is the half-back. Steve Georgalis at lock forward. Mark Horrow and Paul Langmack, the captain, in the second row. Brent Stewart and Glenn Grief are the prop forwards. And Chris Williams is in the side with Cherry Mesher and Jim Sedaris out injured. Manly, up goes the Bronx cheer. Matthew Ridge at fullback and captain today. Craig Hancock on one wing. Steve Menzies and John Hopewadi, the centre pair today. Jack Elsgood gets a rare chance in first grade in the starting lineup. Cliff Lyons at 5'8". Des Hasler at half-back. Nick Kosef at lock forward. Ian Robertson, Danny Gardner in the second row. Mark Carroll, David Gillespie, the big prop forwards, and Owen Cunningham is playing hooker, just back from suspension. Desi Hasler, what a versatile, courageous player he's been over the years. Today it's at half-back. He's been playing hooker for much of the season. As Johnny Pearce says, it probably won't make that much difference to them today. The referee just looking towards the crowd. I believe there will be a national anthem. Graham West is the referee.
Is he going to sing it, Graham West? That'd be good.
He looks like he wants a microphone. A little bit of karaoke from the referee today.
Well, it doesn't look like anyone's going to sing it. Peardy.
Away you go, Jacko.
Here's your chance. Here he comes.
Peter McNeely-Jackson in the commentary box today.
And the national anthem this afternoon to be sung by Stefan. Please feel free to join in, Australia.
And our Western Australian viewers join us for the national anthem.
Let us rejoice, for we are young and free, with golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains and let us sing, advance Australia fair.
It's pretty warm today. I believe Debbie Spillane's got a bikini on.
Oh, you believe wrongly there, Warren. As outlandish as it seems, it's about high 20s down here on the field. The ground is drier than Peardy's sense of humour, and there's a bit of a light breeze. West have won the toss and elected to run into that in the first half. The breeze is blowing towards the scoreboard end of the ground. I think it's more of a freshening breeze than one that's going to affect the kicking play.
Thanks, Debbie. Referee West, you can see shading his eyes from that hot sun. 80 minutes of football in pretty tough conditions, but the early skirmishes will be worth watching. Mark Horrow gets an awkward bounce, finally picks it up, and he's trapped only 10 metres out from his line by Des Hasler. The value of a kick that bounces around awkwardly when you don't get to it on the full. Brad Hughes takes it forward. Season points Manly with the best attack and defence in the competition. 621 points in attack to West, 441. West have been too expensive in defence this year. They've given away 454, and that's really been their undoing. Kevin McGuinness swings it wide to Brandon Pearson. Under pressure from Cliff Lyons. He hooks it back towards centre field. Matthew Ridge couldn't get to it on the full. Hancock's there. Chase is down there. Hancock slipping. The early tactics from West. Not waiting till the last tackle, putting it down the other end. Reserve grade. It was an exciting match, and West won 22 points to 20, a seesawing second half. There's Hasler dummy half. Carroll looms up, takes it. Mark Carroll, one of the most important players for Manly this year, giving him that go forward. Jeff Tooby out injured today, struggling with a neck problem. He missed last week as well.
Yeah, he missed too, Ryan. His defence particularly missed for Manly. I thought he was missed last week in the game against Penrith. You know, where he just cleans up everywhere, Jeff Tooby, and he's a great inspiration to his teammates.
Ridge for the kick. He's under pressure from Williams. It's a great tackle, but Manly still have one more. And on the previous play, Williams made a great tackle on Ian Roberts. He's getting to them very quickly from marker. Now it comes to Hasler. He's got time, though, to get it away. Straight down the throat. Oh, he's knocked it forward. Andrew Leeds knocked it on. Just up above his head, he stretched high. Couldn't control it as it came down. And that's a blow because West had really harassed the Manly kickers. Yeah, just a bad option from Andrew Leeds. He knew that as soon as he knocked the ball on, you could see him castigating himself. Probably wishes he let it bounce and turned around and chased the ball back. There's Ken McGuinness, scored a couple of tries, a couple of great tries in reserve grade. Wouldn't be surprised to see him get his start, but Andrew Leeds will be very disappointed with that and makes very few mistakes, Andrew Leeds. Ken McGuinness got 3 tries, a hat-trick in reserve grade after being dropped. Hopewadi has a go. Low tackle from Brandon Pearson. Remember last week against Norths, Ken McGuinness got caught out a couple of times in defence, also dropped the ball once or twice. Just looked like he was off his game. I was surprised to see him get dropped, though, by the West camp. Ian Roberts heads towards that wide blind side. Always an offloader, and the intercept by Pearson. Pearson read that offload by Roberts. He's struggling for a run, Ian Roberts. He was out for a month with that knee injury. He's only been back for 1 or 2 games and hasn't really performed to his best in either of those games, so he's perhaps trying a little bit hard, big Ian Roberts. Raw went up. There was a tough tackle from David Gillespie, just lifted the West player momentarily. Gillespie had a couple of seasons with West after leaving Canterbury. Horro, quick play the ball. Last tackle, it goes to Langmack, running it. Out to Pearson, standing wider. High kick, centre field for Ridge. Georgalis goes up, took the full-back out, and it's a penalty to Manly, and I think that's the way Graham West has seen it. I think he believes that Georgalis went up so early that he effectively knocked Ridge out. Well, the question is, did he have his eyes on the football? And in my opinion, he did. He just misjudged his jump, and I thought that was a pretty harsh penalty, in fact. I thought Steve Georgalis had his eyes on the ball the whole time. How'd you see it, Petey?
Yeah, it certainly looked that way, but I didn't see the ball come down anywhere near him, did you?
Well, it wasn't too far away from him.
I think Manly were entitled to the penalty myself because Ridge was knocked out well before the ball arrived. There's Terry Hill in the crowd today. On the field, he's had a total of 10 weeks suspension given to him this season, and he'll be back for the 2nd round of the semi-finals.
Already, Warren, West have kicked that high kick, that bomb, 2 passes wide in 2 consecutive sets. So obviously a tactic early, and although Matthew Ridge is very safe under a high kick, I mean, everyone's vulnerable if you can get there the same time as the ball.
As it comes out to Lyons, he almost threw a forward pass, gives it to Hopewadi instead. Hopewadi, nice pass to Elsgood. Back inside, chance for Cliffy Lyons. Lyons chased by Georgalis, scores a fine Manly try. Sharp passing by Jack Elsgood and the 2 support players to carve West down the touchline. Lyons started it with the cutout pass to Hopewadi. Manly 4, West 0. Good work by Jack Elsgood, though. Threw the pass at the latest moment possible. Here it is out to Hopewadi. West sliding across. Looked as if they had it pretty well covered. Late pass from Hopewadi was a good one. Good support play. Ridge, another perfect pass. Lyons had almost overrun it. Not much in it, but good enough for the try. Yeah, pretty simple try, really. Just good support play, Warren. You did allude to that. Cliffy Lyons throws the long ball. But in saying this, West really had the situation summed up here. Tony Wall actually went in, but he still made the tackle on Elsgood, and just too many Manly players coming through. Cliffy Lyons picking up a good try from a great ball from Matthew Ridge. Lovely pass from Ridge, wasn't it? So Cliff Lyons, he's just nudging 34 as Matthew Ridge moves into the kick. It looks pretty good from out wide. It's there, and it's 6 points to 0 to Manly. Ridge, the 83% kicker this season, leading point scorer in the comp.
It was far too much daylight last week. They're doing the right thing there, really. They're starting to slide, but look, Wall had to wait too long for Bell to come. If he'd have gone a little bit earlier on Elsgood, I'm sure that he wouldn't have got that pass away. But that's rugby league, and nice pass by Ridge, and Cliffy Lyons, who instigated that with a long ball, was there to finish it off.
Cliffy Lyons, 33 now, 34 in October, 8th try of the year. Brandon Pearson with the restart of play. That's a blow to West because they'd started the game well, and I thought coming into this match that they would give plenty of cheek, but should Manly score a couple of quick tries, West could easily fold. Not too much to play for from as regards making the semis. Lyons gives it to Gillespie. Gillespie shopping around, can't get it away, or he finally found Cunningham in the end. Carroll now. Short of halfway. Hasler out of dummy half, chased by Stewart. He runs into Grief. Back it comes for Kosef. Kosef really developing this season. Played something like 11 first-grade games before this year. Been with Manly for 2 or 3 seasons. Kick through down to Leeds. He finished last week's game with a corpse thigh, but he seems to be running freely. Runs into Kosef's tackle. Wall. That injury list for West: Mesha, Sedaris, Paul Smith, and Andrew Willis, who, when West were on a roll mid-season, was playing a very steady game at 5'8", but he's missed the last couple of months of the season with injury. This man, Glenn Grief, with the ball, has not been as effective in the latter part of the season. He and Sedaris, very important early on to West's season. Last tackle coming up for the Magpies on the Manly 40-metre line. Up it goes from Pearson again, very high. Leeds coming through on Ridge. Ridge is allowed to take it. Leeds got there too early and then just seemed to spin out of the play.
Yeah, he didn't compete for that ball at all, Andrew Leeds, and Matthew Ridge will gobble those up every time without competition. Here goes John Opawati for a run, and Graham West has found the forward pass.
It looked as if he'd beaten Wall pointlessly, but instead Wall had pulled out of the tackle because of the referee's whistle. Look at this pass.
There it is there, yeah. Forward from mine, no doubting that one. John Opawati comes from Claymore, which is, of course, in the Campbelltown area. Believed to have a number of people there. Solomon Hamano and Matt Dunford, who played in reserve grade. I mean, the amount of suspensions and injuries Manly have got, still have a player like Matt Dunford in reserve grade just shows what incredible talent. And another bloke, to have a bloke like Jack Elskood come up when you've got 2 international players and have the Rookie of the Year from a couple of seasons ago come up onto the wing is just incredible talent.
Brent Stewart tackle 15 out. Now Glenn Grief tries to spin. Can't get away. Good tackle there of Gartner. Now McGuinness. Now to Langmack. He pops it into the hole and Pearson's over the line. Brandon Pearson scores the try for West. Great hit back by the Magpies. Lovely ball once again by Langmack. He had 3 runners to select from. He picked out Pearson, who ran into the hole. It wasn't a big one, but from 5 metres out, Pearson had the pace and the thrust to get there. Langmack, always the playmaker. Lovely pass. Missed tackle on Pearson, but there were plenty of tackles to be made there. Yeah, totally misread by Cliffy Lyons it was. Andrew Leeds running the decoy, and it sucked Owen Cunningham in, but Cliffy Lyons also came in. You can see on the wider replay, have a look at this. Cliffy Lyons comes in for some reason. I'm not quite sure. Leeds sucks one player in, and Cliffy Lyons comes in on Pearson, and in the end was out of position, couldn't make effective tackle, and Pearson hits the hole well and goes in for a good try, and the Maggies hit back. Brandon Pearson, who started his career with St George, had a season at South Sydney, and then joined West last year. And he has a big future, Brandon Pearson. It's a split-second decision in defence close to your line, isn't it? And Manly picked the wrong players to go for there. Leeds. 20 metres out, 12 metres in from touch, 71% success rate. He's hooked it across the face. And Manly lead by 6 points to 4.
Well, this has been one of West's favourite plays. Off Langmack, the man from inside. There he is, out. This time, Cliffy Lyons just overread just a fraction, and he picked the right guy. And that's one thing this kid can do, Brandon Pearson. He can really run for holes. He's an aggressive type of performer.
Yeah, you'd think they would have talked about that a fair bit, Manly, because it is their major play, Peardy. Yep. Especially Andrew Leeds off Langmack. They like to run a couple of decoys, and Langmack just hits the bloke that's in the hole, and he does it so well. And Manly weren't awake up to it. I was surprised they would have talked it up a lot every time Langmack gets the ball in that situation, try and cover his runners.
Yeah, I just thought Cliffy probably thought, well, I'll snuff this one out because I know Leeds is going to get the ball, because Manly had plenty of defenders. They had 3 defenders within an area of about 6 metres, so there was really no great danger until Cliffy came out of the line at them.
Here's Glenn Grief for West. Just a moment ago, he saw a bruising tackle from Ian Roberts or Mark Horrow. Grief. And there's another strong tackle by Gillespie this time. Just met him, stopped him, drove him back. Out to Pearson. He steps. Beat Lions, but pass now back and knocked on. Passing in plenty of traffic. Trying to keep it alive, Brandon Pearson. West unable to control possession.
Warren, that's about the third big hit that Gillespie's come up with. You think you can smell tough players, and he's certainly a tough player. I don't think anyone had sledged David Gillespie. They just call him Sir, probably. Nice tackle, sir.
Tommy Raudonikis up in the box with the walkie-talkie.
And then dodge him the next ruck.
Yeah, make sure you're on the blind side if he's on the open.
I think one thing about David, there's another knock-on from Stephen Menzies, and I think that may have went back as well. I think the thing that people don't realise about David Gillespie is his great ability to read who's going to get the football. No, that's a knockback from mine, Warren.
Yeah, I suppose so, but not a lot in it. Not as blatant as some of them.
But don't you think, I mean, I know it's probably getting a little bit boring, but don't you think the benefit of the doubt should go with the attacking team?
I suppose if you're a defending team, you wouldn't think so. But no, I'd agree with that. If that was the policy, yeah, I'd agree with that, yeah. If there's a suggestion it goes back, go with it, yeah.
I mean,
the less stoppages, the better. It makes for a better game.
As I was saying about David Gillespie, I think people don't realise his great ability to read who's going to get the football in situation. There's another penalty for West. Things are starting to roll with the Maggies now.
Mark Horrow held down by Gartner. Gillespie's in there as well, but it's Gartner who's laying over him. Horrow might have milked it a little. I suppose Gartner was on top of him long enough to cause the referee to blow the whistle. West decided to go for the sideline, 38 metres out, didn't tempt Andrew Lead from centre field. His goal kicking hasn't been that perfect in the last few games.
I'd be very surprised if West start setting up for another playoff Langmack.
15 metres out. 3 men in the tackle. McGuinness to Horrow. He turned his back, tried to get the pass back, but his arm was locked up in the tackle. Centre field, only 12 metres out. McGuinness to Langmack. Second man is Pearson. Well read by the defence that time. Gillespie and Roberts. Williams goes across field, tries to link up now, finds Bell. Once again, tough tackling by Hamona. I should say by Hopewadi at least. Last tackle, the kick through into the in goal. Ridge is back there, but he's run it dead. Tactical kick, put the pressure on Ridge.
Oh, it's a beautiful little kick from Paul Langmack. Just threaded that through about four or five Manly defenders. And Matthew Ridge left with no option but to run it dead. So Paul Langmack stamping his class on this game, and a revitalised Paul Langmack this year under the coaching of Tommy Raudonikis. Signed again for another year, I believe.
Yes, that's correct. 14 minutes of play gone. Manly leading 6 points to 4 as Ridge drops out. Horrow's got it. If we expected fire in the early clashes, it hasn't been that way. It's just been good football. Some tough tackling, more so by Manly than West's. Williams out to Georgalis. Wide ball for Pearson on the run, given some room to move. And a little slow to move up on him. Menzies finally makes the tackle. McGuinness. Grief steps well. Good step from Glenn Grief. Very quickly off his left foot. Kevin McGuinness. Here's Langmack. Tries to pop it up. It's on the ground. Manly's ball.
That's a knock-on from Cliffy Lyons, and he's got a call from his touch judge. Good decision by Graham West. Well done by the touch judge on this side of the field. Cliffy Lyons just getting his hand in there and coming up with a knock-on. Have a look at it. Paul Langmack once again trying to do a play off him. A second man play with Andrew Leeds hitting the hole.
I thought that Lyons may have actually knocked that back with his hand. I thought he had the hand around and hooked it back. West chance, 10 metres out. The pass comes to Wall. Wall stretches out and scores. Georgalis working from lock forward after the scrum win. And even though it was just Georgalis and his winger Tony Wall, Manly's defence unable to counter them. Wall stepped through the defence. Only 10 metres out and away go West. Lyons makes the tackle on Georgalis, but then Hopewadi pretty easily beaten. And Gartner arrived too late on Wall.
Yeah, just a couple of missed tackles, wasn't it, really? Georgialis did well. Tony Wall ran on a beautiful angle, which wrong-footed Hopewadi a little, but not a great deal. And John Hopewadi just not coming up with the desperate tackle that was needed in that situation. And a good try to Tony Wall, who's taken his chances well, Warren. Whenever we've seen a chance in first grade, he's played pretty well.
Yes, he's a registered nurse at St Joseph's Hospital at Auburn. Came out of Metropolitan Cup to join Wests this year.
I wonder if he'd be the first ever registered nurse to play rugby league, first grade rugby league.
Yeah, it's not a well-known rugby league occupation, is it?
I mean, I played a fair bit of doctors and nurses when I was a young kid, but it's only make-believe.
Now Andrew leads. Can he land this goal? It's handy to the posts. It's cooking away though. He misses, and he's disappointed too. But West take the lead, 8 points to 6. Petey, which was the tougher tackle here, Hopewadi's or Gartner from the scrum?
Well, look, well, that's a terrific angle that Walls ran. And really, Hopewadi didn't set himself nicely for it. He could only go one way, Wall, inside. He didn't have the pace to beat Elsgood.
That's great. Sorry, Petey.
Yep, but I just thought that was a costly error from Cliffy Lyons. Not error, it was desperation stuff. But again, he came in off the line to try and stop that ball from Langmack. So I think it's been really ingrained in them that Langmack is the key to this Western Suburbs side, because they're coming out of their line at him. That's just what they want.
Yeah, great effort. Great effort by the West Horse to screw that scrum, to get the back rowers out of the play. And you notice Nick Kosef was nowhere to be seen there. He was on the open side of the field because West screwed the scrum. And they're on fire, the Maggies. They're loving it.
Glenn Grief hits it up for Wests. 12 metres short of halfway. Kosef holding him down. No penalty. That was very close, surely, to a penalty. Pearson kicks for touch, and it curls away and finds it. They're determined to get the kick in before the last tackle. Brandon Pearson, good boot that time. Bill Dunn and Justin Dooley on the touchline for West, fresh reserves. Manly only naming the one fresh reserve, Solomon Homono.
Glenn Grief's a very quick learner, Warren. He ran straight into Gillespie early in the game. Now he's starting to use his feet.
Yeah, and Petey, a surprisingly good step. On the other hand,
it's on 2 occasions now he's used his feet. You've got to use your feet these days. Running into guys, you're just running into brick walls. They're all muscled up with weights. They're going to resist you. And there's some good defence from Horro, who's been one of West's best all season.
Brent Stewart's run into trouble though. He's hobbling from the field, so they've lost one prop forward. Justin Dooley's gone on. The look of Stewart, he might not be back as Carroll charges ahead. Plenty of power in Mark Carroll. Hasler gives it to Lyons. Lyons, Hopewadi now steps away from the tackle of Bell. Lost a boot in doing so. 5th tackle on the halfway. Lyons down the blind side, short kick, and that wasn't a very good option from Cliff Lyons. It was always a very narrow blind, and West seemed to be awake to it. Had men there. If anything, if he was going to kick, he had to kick deeper. Early days, but this is going to be one of Cliffy Lyons' rare off days. They do happen once or twice a season. Darren Willis. Got away from Roberts. Taken by Hasler. Manly have had to make twice as many tackles. Williams with a short, sharp burst.
He's been impressive, Warren, around that area. He was playing as a winger in reserve grade 2 weeks ago.
He's more a back than a forward, former halfback.
Yeah, but look how snappy he is. Look at that pass.
Kick on the 5th tackle from Langmack. Ridge comes towards it, takes it well. Good blocking that time by Carroll. Roberts was there as well, shielding the fullback from the runners.
Oh, they're going to put bombs up to Matthew Ridge. They've got to put him under pressure, otherwise it's just a dead set donation. He won't miss him if you won't put him under pressure.
He was barely forced to jump that time, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's just a great taker of the high ball, and you've got to have 2 or 3 blokes jumping the same time he does, otherwise he'll catch him every time. Simple as that.
I do think Manly have woken up to the tactic, though. They are trying to protect Ridge more than they were at the beginning of the game. Hancock bustling forward. Hasn't seen any ball so far, Craig Hancock, so he's come to the centre of the field to get involved. Gillespie up towards halfway, the 5th tackle now. Kosef swings it to Lyons. They're thinking about running it. The chip. Here comes Menzies. Leeds comes forward and took it well, Andrew Leeds. Stephen Menzies looked as if he'd made the decision not to go for the ball, but Leeds was powering forward to take it. They'd both gone for it. It would have been one hell of a collision.
Yeah, clever decision by Stephen. Andrew Leeds, had he missed that tackle on Andrew Leeds, Leeds was away with the player unmarked on his left-hand side. So great work by Stephen Menzies.
We're still having plenty of possession in the game. Manly with 6 points. Wests with 8. 8-6 in favour of the Magpies. 20 minutes gone. 5th tackle. Georgalis swings it out to Leeds. He kicks for the corner. The winger is up, Hancock, but Hancock's going to win the race. Oh, he gives it to Ridge. Brilliant football by Craig Hancock. And away comes Ridge. Now he gives it to Menzies. Odds on that Hancock would have been put over the touchline there if he didn't pass it to Ridge. Now with Cunningham.
A beautiful little bit of football. Great presence of mind by Hank Hancock. Just got rid of that ball before he was taken over the sideline. And not a flashy player, Craig Hancock, but very, very effective player. Very clever player as well. There you see the total errors, 11 to Manly, 4 to West.
Gillespie tackle on the halfway. Hasler nowhere to go. The markers have got him, but he slips it to Carroll. He switches it across to the open side. Now it's Lyons to Menzies. Some room to move for Stephen Menzies. Looked inside. There was no support. Lyons have come around to the wing side of him. Now Lyons pops the kick through. Hancock giving chase, but it's into touch. And it's only 7 metres out from the West line.
Yeah, Cliffy Lyons is taking matters into his own hands there. A little grubber kick for line. And the West defence has been good, Peter. Been very enthusiastic, hasn't it? Been bottling up the Manly players all over the park.
Yeah, very good in the forwards, Peter. I just, watching the last few rucks, I mean, they're trying to wrap the ball carrier up, which you've got to do. You've got to lock that ball up. But that was one time it escaped. It just got flicked back, and then that's when Cliffy Lyons comes into his own, when there's a costly error from young McGuinness. He claims it's probably come off his legs, but West doing well in defence and locking that ball up. Very enthusiastic. This is costly, but...
Sure. Though, Petey, Manly have nearly got them down the edges a few times, or have got them once, haven't they?
Yeah, they're just not getting to them quick enough. Hopewadi and Menzies just getting too much room. Here's Hancock with a bit of space.
From the far wing, he turns it inside to Elsgood. He's crashed the ground, only 15 metres out. Heavy tackle over the top by Pearson. He's penalty. There were 3 of them in the tackle and are all over him. And the ball knocked away. Ridge takes the tap. West are thin out wide. Gartner. Well tackled by Willis. Cunningham, dummy half. And away he goes. Owen Cunningham out of the tackle. Pulled away from Mark Horrow. 2 metres out. Kosef calls for it. Goes himself, though. Still going, Nick Kosef. He's strong as well as skillful. Hasler's there, and Hasler scores it. Hasler backs up, receives a pass. Ridge and Dooley pushing and shoving each other. But the try scored by Des Hasler. Manly take the lead.
I just missed tackles, Warren, that's all it was. There's one from Pearson. There's another one there from Grief. They can't tie the ball up, and Desi Hasler just looming around behind Nick Kosef, and the youngster gets away a great pass. And West will rue this one.
Yeah, Kosef very strong in the lead up to the play, wasn't he? And he is either shrugged off or taken with him 4 or 5 tacklers, and that had to create some space for Des Hasler. Hasler's 4th try, like Cliff Lyons, he's 34. Started out at Penrith, played back with the Panthers in 81 through to 83 before joining Manly in 84. He's had a long stint at Manly, of course visited the UK for a season in 94, but back with Manly and having another tremendous season. So West behind their goal line, down by 2 points. Ridge makes it 4. It's Manly 12, West 8.
A good play prior to this try. Of course, well, there's a try coming up now with Kosef. Could have been wrapped up there by Pearson. Also Chris Williams hanging around, possibly looking for a pass. But this is where the real damage was done. Dooley just couldn't come up over the top, and of course that's Manly's forte, just flicking balls back, and they've got eager players like let's have a look at Wade. It looks like he has dropped the ball. I did notice that first time, but geez, close enough to score a try, I'd say.
Yeah, I don't know. Looking at that replay, he lost possession.
He really launched himself, didn't he?
You can understand why an in-goal judge or a referee might have missed it, though. It was late. Hasler's made 14 tackles as well as scoring a try. We've only had 25 minutes. Cunningham.
It's a crucial period for the Magpies. They've got to make sure Manly don't score in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
We just saw Cunningham with the ball in. That was the big play prior to that last try. Cunningham knocked the ball forward 15 metres. Quick play of the ball and opened up a few avenues for Manly.
That's Gillespie. Fighting to get his arms free. 3 men in the tackle once more from Wests. Roberts goes wide out to Lyons. Roberts comes around him nicely to Hopewadi. The winger is unmarked. Elsgood just waiting. Hopewadi's been forced back inside though. West trying to contain them in the middle, but they are leaving space out wide. Ridge. The kick rebounds. It wasn't played at. Kosef loses it, and away goes Brandon Pearson. It was still the last tackle. Hughes. Slow play the ball. Dooley gets it back to Leeds. And Leeds halfway through the tackle of Kosef. Carroll just cleaned him up. Now Grief with a quick play the ball and a quick hit up flat off the dummy half. 15 metres out. Or 25 it is for West. Langmack passes wide of Bell. Dancing away from tackles is Wall though. Back to Bell. Once again Wall shows he's elusive. Langmaker's dummy half, it's the last tackle. Pearson puts it up high towards the post. Ridge is waiting, Leeds is challenging. Anybody's ball, Dooley's after it. Hancock gets it for Manly. And there were 3 West players out there and only Hancock.
And there's a penalty. I mean, that's just a shocking penalty. Dooley, he must be disciplined. Tommy Raudonikis will be absolutely filthy about that. There's the kick that goes up. Plenty of pressure on Matthew Ridge. 1, 2, 3 chase. Andrew Leeds is there. Matthew Ridge can't come up with the tackle. Can't come up with the catch, sorry. And Dooley, they had a great position there, just tried to hang on a little bit too long. All his defenders were in position, ready to go. He just needed to let go of him, let him play. And they had Manly in a very vulnerable situation. Now they've picked up a cheap 20.
And from that bomb, Jacko, in contrast to what we saw earlier, where there was a penalty against Georgalis for taking Ridge out, I had the feeling that a Manly player pushed Andrew Leeds past Ridge. So Leeds in the end came down, passed the ball, and Ridge was really, well, he still was in a bit of trouble. I just had the feeling Leeds was pushed in the back. Kosef gets it to Gartner. Gartner cuts away, gives it to Hopewadi. Elsgood now, he looks for open spaces. Jack Elsgood on the fly. Elsgood is a player who in 1995 seems to be getting back to his 1993 form, even though he's been playing a lot of reserve grade. Carroll. Last tackle coming up. Cliff Lyons moves to the right-hand side. Ridge picks up a few metres. Now it's Lyons. Late pass to Kosef. Menzies with the kick. Hancock being held back, surely, on the far side by the West winger, and it is a penalty. Brad Hughes had hold of Craig Hancock. It wasn't just jostling with the shoulder, which is legal. It was grabbing hold of the jersey, and 10 minutes in the bin. Brad Hughes is in the bin.
Yeah, I can't argue with that at all. There's Brad Hughes. And I think Hancock would have got to that ball first and probably scored a try. So I can't argue with 10 minutes in the bin at all.
Raises the question of a penalty try almost, doesn't it?
I think they're very reluctant to award penalty tries.
Sure, unless they're certain the try will be scored.
Just some wonderful lead-up play to that kick, Warren. Good passing by Cliff Lyons and Kosef.
Manly in a tremendous attacking position here, just 10 metres out. Gillespie heads just to the left of the posts. Manly with plenty of men stacked on the right. Langmack came up early. Surely he was offside. It's play on Kosef. Ridge looks for the line himself, can't stretch out. West still short in defence on the blind side. West come up all over Menzies. Lyons swings it quickly. Roberts unmarked as Gardner. The chase from Williams. Great effort by Chris Williams, but not good enough. And the try goes to Danny Gardner. West well and truly outnumbered on the left-hand side after good lead-up by Manly. Always were a chance of scoring in this set of 6 when they started 15 metres out. And finally, might have been a loose pass, but Kosef keeps it going. Lyons again keeps it going as Bell came up quickly on him. Roberts was out there. Gardner chased desperately by Chris Williams, but he can't stop him.
Just umpteen numbers here from Manly. Great pass from Clippy Lyons, nice and quick through the hands. Kosef gets out the Clippy. There it is. Tony Wall came through and got nobody. In fact, he got John Hopewadi, who didn't look like getting the ball, but in the end, it was just too many numbers for Manly, and it was just put your hand up whoever wanted to score that one.
Danny Gardner, who of course originated down Belmore way. His father played for Canterbury, but is very much part of Manly now and came through the Narrabeen Sharks as a Manly junior. Matthew Ridge to line this up. He's kicked 1 goal from a similar position to this. There's a mound of sand just about 3 metres inside this one. West in trouble with Manly leading 16 points to 8 as David Gillespie leaves the field. Must be pretty hot for the big men out there today. Manly have this tremendous ability to work the angles, keep the ball alive. They very nearly scored after the kick through, got the penalty, and then did score in the next set of 6. Ridge with 90 goals from 108 attempts before this match. And this looks very good. It's a beauty. It's a joy to watch when it comes to goal kicking. Matthew Ridge. And he can break a few point scoring records in this match. Manly 18, West 8.
Really moving the West defence all over the paddock here, but you've got to make decisions in football. What's the 4? Bell, he came out of the line and went inside, and Roberts had an easy saloon passage to steer another second rower over in Gardner. But you've got to make decisions. Some come off and some don't. And that time Bell just arrived a little too late.
Manly prepared to run the ball on the last tackle, and that's causing West some problems. Ridge can't get it away. He goes himself. On their own 20 now, Manly. Roberts. Pearson, but slipped down low in the end. Finally wrapped up by McGuinness and Bell. Kosef comes across the ruck. Solomon Hamono's on the field. He's lost it though. Pearson has it for West. First touch from Hamono, unsuccessful. Dooley goes on the charge. And he unloads. Williams knocks it back, and Manly have got it through Kosef. Williams a little too eager that time, couldn't pick it up cleanly. Carroll turns it around for Manly. West can't afford those errors, particularly inside Manly's 20. Hamono with the right arm cocked to unload. Roberts, Gardner. Head just seemed to go back a little in the tackle. Just inside West half. Kosef again with a switch, and Langmack's half to the intercept, knocks it down. It's 6 more tackles. They are using that switch quite a deal with Kosef. Langmack read it to perfection, well, almost to perfection. Menzies.
There you go. All right.
Taken by Willis. Hamono. Slammed to ground. He's always looking to unload, isn't he?
Yeah, tremendous ball skills, Solomon Hamono. Great basketball player, apparently, according to Jimmy Dimmick. Tells me he's got all the skills.
Let him go, let him go.
Hancock well tackled by Willis. Rounded him up. There's 25 metres out for Manly. They go wide. Roberts is camping out in the centres. Throws the dummy into Hopewadi, onto Gardner. Great support play. Tremendous backing up by Daniel Gardner. Worked it back inside. Ian Roberts is causing them problems. He's so tall and strong, very hard to put on the ground. and he is running wide. Stephen Menzies might have been picked in the centres, but that's where Roberts is doing some damage as well. And here's Manly from one side of the field to the other. West just cannot contain them, and they always look for the inside pass once they're swung around in the tackle. Look at Ian Roberts. West trying to number him off. There was one tackler on him, but it's so easy for Roberts to pass it, and well backed up inside by Hopewadi and Gartner.
Yeah, they just dropped their intensity, West. Slow to get back into the line, slow to get set and come forward at the Manly defence. And that was always going to be a problem for the Maggies. Had Manly skipped away to a 12 or a 10-point lead, motivation was always going to be a problem. I think it'll be a problem for the rest of the afternoon, Warren, after that try.
Now Ridge not far from the post. Kick this blindfolded. Flags are up, and the score is very big all of a sudden. It's Manly 24, West 8, 4 minutes till half-time.
Playing with great width, Manly. Look at Roberts. He actually turns his back, the second Manly player, and he's still got his back turn of the ball. Here he links in now. McGuinness should have zeroed in on him. See, he's not coming across fast enough, and that just created the inside play. It's very easy. You've got to move in on those danger players as quick as you possibly can, and little McGuinness was guilty of doing that, but he's a big lad, Roberts, and he has got a lot of skills. He turned the ball in nicely to Gartner for number 2.
Kevin McGuinness has no chance of containing Ian Roberts by himself. Brandon Pearson, who's leading the tackle count for West from 5'8", with the restart. There's Hasler, who of course is named at halfback as leading the tackle count for Manly. He's made 16 tackles. Pearson has made 13. Front rowers might have to gang up on the 5'8" and halfback to protect their reputations. Cunningham. West looking right down the barrel now. Last week against North, they were down, I think it was 22-6 and came back, but can they do it today? It's looking ominous.
Gee, they're using Kosef well. Not only do they use him as a first receiver, they use him in decoy plays because he just has that ability to offload balls. He's made an error there, but he's a handy player. He's just dropped the ball as he's about to get up and play it.
I hope Nick Kosef's not still growing, Peardy, because he's a handful already, isn't he?
Certainly is, but oh, gee, it's intelligent the way they're using him. He's got it all.
Hasler and McGuinness come head-to-head. Halfback on halfback. Hasler wins the battle. Dooley ran away from Cunningham, gets it back to Williams. And Wall had come back inside. He was on the outside. Williams could have passed it.
Dooley's done a few good things out there too. Like Dooley has only touched the ball, I think, 4 times, and each time he's popped the ball back and tried to create something for West. You've got to do that against a defence like Manly. Here's Langmack with a high kick.
The rest of the players didn't know about it, and it's gone out on the full. Darren Willis seems to be playing on the wing now after starting in the centres. He was too deep to chase that. Just don't think there was any communication. And it smacked of desperation by Paul Langmack. Just he thought, I'll try and pull a rabbit out of a hat here.
Yeah, well, it didn't really matter if there was no chases, Warren, in the end, because it went out on the full. And Manly get the scrum feed. And the old heads are down. And Maggies now, they need half-time. They need a rev from Tommy because they're struggling at this stage.
If I was them, I'd score a try so that they didn't have to listen to the rev at half-time, because you can bet it's coming. Lions might have another try or two left in him yet before the break. The siren's not far off, though. Gartner. And they're so flexible. Not just the fact that they have players, they have the depth, but they have flexibility in the way they use them. Here's Menzies. The siren has gone. Menzies breaks upfield. Well tackled, though. The last tackle of the first half made by Brandon Pearson. So he's tried very hard, attack and defence, but it's not enough for West. The sheer speed, brilliance and understanding of Manly has cut them up out wide, and it's Manly who have scored 4 tries to West 2.
Have a look at the half-time stats. Time of possession, Manly picking up a little bit towards the latter half of that first half. Time in opposition half. Western Suburbs have been down there a fair bit, but haven't been affected. Completed sets 11-all. Line breaks 5-2. Kicks in general play 9-7. This course has scored 24-8. Back to the second half.
Graham West blows the whistle, and away go West. You think that their ears would be burning? Solomon Hormono brings it back. West certainly don't want to end their season on a downer. And on the other hand, Manly just this side to really take out the big stick and whack you with it when they've got a lead like this. And they think they've got you on the run. Ian Roberts takes it forward. Well, Debbie, did you have your ear to Tommy Raudonikis' half-time plea?
No, well, it's actually happened the opposite way around. It's Fulton who has someone told me from the dressing room is filthy on the way his team's playing, and basically dressing room, Wayne Ellis says that basically they talked about the inside defence. They think they're falling off a little bit on the inside and therefore falling to Manly's inside passes. So that was all that they talked about. Basically, Manly wants more ball control. He wants to play more up west end of the field, and he wants to increase the pace. Not happy with the performance in the first half.
Well, it's interesting that Bob Fulton, maybe he's just making sure that they stay on their toes and don't drop off. He thought that if he just gave the usual half-time sermon of everything's going all right, stick to the game plan, maybe he thought that they would go back into their shell and possibly get into trouble if they gave West a sniff. Top tacklers in the first half, Grief for West and Hasler for Manly.
Yeah, Ian Roberts is there, Gartner, Pearson and Horro all having a good go today. Pretty hot out there.
Three Manly tacklers all over the top of Williams. He finally plays it. Georgalis out to Stewart. When Stewart left the field, I didn't think he'd be back, but he is. Last tackle coming up for West. Georgalis, that was low, not knocked on. Great hands in the end by Georgalis. And the kick ahead for Ridge. But if Chasers down there, West have to keep them down there too often. West in this position, given away a penalty or dropped the ball, made some mistake, and you just can't afford that against this Manly side.
Clearing.
Long pass for Gartner, but he was flat-footed because of that long pass. Misunderstanding. I'm sure that's not what Manly had in mind from that play the ball. Carroll. And he's met by some stiff West defence, which came up quickly because they hadn't had to race back to the 10 metres from the previous play the ball. Kosef swept upon by Willis. If West could tackle like this for 80 minutes, Manly would go nowhere. The trouble is that they don't seem to be able to. Langmack was in the chase there on the kicker, but Leeds has it for Wests. Now Hughes runs into Carroll. 24-8 to Manly. Williams. Chris Williams turns 23 today. It's his birthday. Don't know whether there'll be too much celebrating immediately after the game. Fires the pass. His dummy half work has been neat. Out it goes through the hands. Pearson to Wall. Osgood was just back a little. Gave him a 10 metres or so worth of room. Fifth tackle now. Georgalis kicks through and Cliff Lyons pulls his hand out of the way, and it was a good decision by Lyons. Ball goes dead. For a moment Lyons thought about going up for the catch.
Well, Stevie Georgalis looking to put up the bomb, I thought originally, and then just comes up with the, well, what would have to be considered a pretty poor kick, running dead, well dead.
Hancock ducks away from the tackle. Horro just swung an arm out and then pulled it down. Maybe he thought it was going to be a high tackle and got it out of there. Menzies in closer to the play. Attempted rake back. Manly got it back. Menzies dives on it. 6 more tackles for the Sea Eagles. Hopewadi breaks through. Hopewadi's still going. He's a handful, all right. And the pass comes back in the direction of Gartner. He couldn't hang on to it, and it was knocked forward. Kosef claiming that it actually came off the West's hands. And now Kosef appeals to the touch judge.
I think Matthew Ridge is appealing to the touch judge that this was a knockback, which I think it was too, again.
The ball, I suppose that one, it actually was coming back from the fingertips, even though it was travelling forward with the momentum. Paul Bell standing, one off the scrum. Hasler makes the tackle from Marker, and he wasn't directly front on. He jumped out straight away. In fact, the referee might have said that Hasler should have been back 10 metres.
Well, let's have a look at it, Warren. There he is there, Desi Hasler. Hand in the play of the ball. I thought he was marking up okay there. I thought he might have been penalised for the hand in the play of the ball, if anything.
Yeah, I suppose by the time he stood up and the ball had already come back. Yeah, you're right. Stewart.
It's great to have these slow motion replays.
Yeah, no,
Jesus.
Makes you a genius.
Absolute genius.
Reef has tackled 35 metres out. Bill Dunn. His first touch of the ball. He wasn't used in the first half as a fresh replacement. Langmack goes himself, throws it up. Georgalis manages to cover it up. Wall now to Grief. Grief claps on the speed. Good acceleration from the prop forward. Plays it back. It got through the hands of Pearson. Wall still going. 10 metres out. Fifth tackle. Can West make something of the last tackle play this time? Langmack dropped it on the ground, tried to drop kick it through to the dead ball, to the in-goal area. Manly fall on it though. Ian Roberts.
All the West players are claiming Ian Roberts knocked the ball on. I don't think he did. There's a chance to go out here. No.
Ian Roberts reads play well, close to his line, doesn't he? Always seems to be in the right position to either make the tackle or dive on a loose ball. Hancock. Lyons gives it to Elsgood. He steps inside Wall. Elsgood up towards halfway. Finds sight in full flight. He's finally tackled though by Dunn. Probably entitled to think there would have been a bit of support. All the Manly players were hanging back, didn't come up the middle. Carroll. Kosef. It's a first receiver as anything. Kosef. Homono. Gardner. He's got support. Hopewadi. Hopewadi too fast for them. He comes right around to the post. And that might take the steam right out of West. First try of the second half. And in a couple of tackles, they've gone from one end of the field to the other. Firstly through Elsgood to get them to halfway. And then just a couple later, Lyons, a little bit of sleight of hand, pops it up to Gardner, and then virtually unmarked, John Hopewadi sprints away for the try. Fine prospect, Hopewadi, already got his chance in the Origin team.
Great ball here by Solomon Homano. We saw him do this last week again, one-on-one. He goes low. I think it was Jeff Bell that went low, just not good enough. You can't go low on Solomon Homano in that situation. He'll always get his hands free, and it was just numbers on the left-hand side. And the Maggies, they had a bit of a shot early. Move in and just about throw this one over. Too easy for him. And starting to struggle a bit now, the Maggies, and a big score looks on the cards for mine, Warren.
Manly have cracked 30 points to 8.
The big play was the ruck before this one, actually, when Kosef put a good pass on, which eventually had Elsgood in space, and of course they had the West defence in disarray, and just some nice hands there. Homono using that right hand ball round the back in a fashion that we're all getting used to now, and of course Hopewadi, very dangerous player.
Manly have won their last 5 games against West here at Campbelltown, and they're on their way to making it 6. Manly are also on their way to winning all of their away games this season, which is a tremendous record. The last team to do it was Souths in '89. I think that you might remain unbeaten at home if you're a good side, but to do it away is very successful. Homono. There's that right arm again. Backing up for the second time is Hopewadi. Cunningham. Manly stretched across the field, deep. There's Roberts, there's Gardner outside Lyons. Here is Roberts. Who's he going to go for? He's going to go himself. Knocked over by Brad Hughes. That's a good tackle. Winger on big second rower. Homono. They still can't lock up that right arm. He must be strong.
He's going to play for Tonga this year in the World Cup, Solomon Homano, and Tonga have got a fairly decent side. Don't worry about that. John Hopewadi, of course, he's a Tongan. Jim Dimmick is the captain of the side. Martin Marcel is another one. So the Tongans, Albert Foulavoy, I think, from Canberra is another player playing for Tonga. So they'll have a decent side, the Tongans.
Lions well tackled by Bell. Aren't they trying to talk Gordon Tallis into it as well?
He's already said he was going to play. Of course, he's a Super League player, so he won't be picked for Australia. So he's just another player, Gordon Tallis. So put that together, that's not a bad sign.
I put my money on them. Here's Georgialis, particularly with a little bit of start.
I think the problem for Tonga is they're up against New Zealand and New Guinea are in their pool, and only one side goes through, which will be a shame.
The crowd, 9,200. West crowds are up this year on the back of some good results and some very healthy performances at home. Haven't won all of them, but they've won their share here at Campbelltown. Pearson kicks on the last. It's going to bounce in open space. Very nearly got it back, but Chris Lyons was competing. And the knock-on ruled against Lyons, much to his puzzlement.
Well, did the touch charge help out the referee here at all? Because the referee was unsighted. Let's have a look at now. Beautiful kick from Pearson. Cliffy Lyons, there's no knock-on yet. Still no knock-on. Oh, that may have been a knock-on. Very close, but he found it. And the West will get the feed.
West are only 20 metres out. Can they use this opportunity? Pearson juggles, and Hasler gets hold of him. They lose 10 metres. Hardly the way they wanted to start this set of 6, but they've got a penalty. Kosef and Hasler look at each other, wondering who was more to blame, thinking that the coach wouldn't be impressed because they'd already knocked West back 10 metres. Right back by Roberts. What can't Roberts do? Gardner brings it up to the 20. Well, the wind is well and truly out of West Balloon at the moment. Shannon Nevin, David Gillespie on the touchline. Gillespie stretching to make sure he's warmed up and flexible when he's called on again. Carroll, I'm about to say with the numbers, but really it was 3 against 3. Pomono tackled by Willis. Kosef, Langmack came up out of the line, but now he backs into it. Kosef is still going though. Selectively tries to pick out Opawati. Now Manly just becoming a little clumsy.
Yeah, a little bit lazy up they. John Opawati was in a bit of a hole there, had a little bit of look, got a little bit overexcited before he caught the ball. Once again, Nick Kosef in there doing some damage.
Georgialis and Langmack being spoken to. Probably, I think the touch judge might have even given the referee a report on Georgialis. No, in that last bit of play by Manly, Langmack raced up out of the line, and that put Kosef into 2 minds. Then he backed back into the line, and I think in a way that contributed to Manly getting confused. It was a little bit unpredictable from Langmack, getting himself out of trouble, but it also confused Manly. The pass is a tough one for Bell. He pulls it down from above his head. Willis to Hughes. Now it's Stewart, Brent Stewart. It's a few metres. Burley New Zealander tackled 30 metres out. 34-8 in favour of Manly. Langmack tries to shovel his way through. Manly defence up the middle has contained him pretty well. Georgialis, Pearson gives it to the winger, but Hancock's got him well marked. The pass really didn't create anything. Might have cut out a man, but just made it that much harder for the winger to beat anyone. Wall kicks ahead. Ridge takes it, tries to bust back into clear space, taken by Langmack. 5 tries to 2 in favour of Manly, and Ridge's boot has also been very solid today, while Andrew Leeds has missed with 2 shots at goal. Gillespie comes onto the field to replace Carroll. Lions out to Hamono. A little bit of space for him. Could have almost run around them. Back inside. Gardner can't handle it. It's right out in front of him. You can't blame Danny Gardner for that one. In fact, the pass must have been close to forward. Grief plays it for West, who are camped inside Manly's half at the moment, but they can't turn it into points. Stewart has a go. Oh, Hamono, good tackle. And Robert slaps him on the back to encourage more from him. Poor play the ball. Now it's done. And he needs support. No one's there. Williams late to arrive. Georgalis. He's wrapped up by Lyons. Couldn't find any runners in holes. Last tackle. Langmack runs at Pearson. Puts the kick in. It's a good kick too. Bounces and taken by Hancock.
Well tackled by Ridge too, he was.
Ridge and Hancock knew they were in trouble there as that one was bouncing. And both men have been injured here. Ridge holding his jaw, Hancock holding his ankle. In terms of reducing the numbers, that kick from West was very effective. Ridge, let's hope he hasn't got any problem there. I hope his jaw has just damaged the cartilages around it rather than the bone.
Well, he didn't get it there. I don't know where he got it. He must have got it there, I suppose. He got a whack somewhere.
Manly forced to drop out. At least West have managed to get a result from that set of 6 in keeping some pressure on Manly. Ridge very slow to move around. Gartner. Is he about to be replaced? No. Yes, he has. He has left the field. Leeds gives it to Tony Wall. He runs at Hasler just to increase Des Hasler's tackle count. It goes up to 27, which is 12 more than the nearest Manly player, Ian Roberts, who has 15. Done. Williams runs from dummy half. He's well tackled too. Good tackle by Stephen Menzies. Langmack switches it. Georgalis. Just not enough drive and enthusiasm in West. They're peppering away, but they need more runners, more backup, more of everything. Georgalis throws himself at the line. Last tackle. And it's against Steve Georgalis, the penalty. Moving off the mark, it appears to be the call. I can't see what that was about.
Oh, let's have a look at it. I don't know where
Ridge has taken the tap and he's going downfield. Ridge has got support in Hopewadi. Up to halfway. Langmack's there. Cliff Lyons is there too, though. Now it's Jack Elsgood, chased by Mark Horrow. He can't get to him, and Elsgood has scored the try. Ridge took a quick tap 5 metres out from his own line. Manly have raced 95 metres, and Jack Elsgood has finished it off. Manly 38, West 8. It may have been a debatable penalty, but Ridge with the tap, and West defence does not await to it. Ridge cuts his way through. He's got John Hopewadi with him. There were plenty of chasers coming from West, but Manly had the break and the speed. Lyon, that's the sort of support play. He was the magic link that kept it happening. Jack Elsgood chased into the corner by Darren Willis and also Mark Horrow. They couldn't catch him.
Yeah, it's John Hopewadi. I thought he might have gone on the outside. Elsgood was on mark on his left-hand side, but Cliffy was the man to, as you said, Brian, provided the vital link, and there he is, Jack Elsgood, fine winger. And he's been playing some pretty good football too, Jack Elsgood, in recent weeks, and you'd have to wonder, age 21. The Norwich Rising Star Award a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago now, and hasn't really played a great deal of first grade since, but Matthew Ridge, 7 from 7, it's a great effort.
A lot of other clubs love to have Jack Elsgood on the wing at the moment when they're all fit. He's behind Hopewadi and Hancock. We've also got Anthony Rogers in reserve grade Manly. Matthew Ridge, just a metre in from touch. He's been knocking them over from everywhere today. And this is just going to miss. Matthew Ridge from the touchline fails to convert, but it's all Manly. It's 38-8.
They're just showing they can go the length of the field as well as Brisbane or Canberra. They really compete well in that area. But Hopewadi looked to be looking for an inside ball to Cliffy Lyons in that play, but which was a good play really, because what he did was held the defence off Elsgood, and Elsgood beat the defence to the corner.
There he is, Jack Elsgood. West trudge back to halfway, 38 points to 8, and there's 20 minutes of play still to go. Solomon Hamono is full of running. Whaler putting down.
There's Terry Hill, but the more damage Solomon Hamono does with that right arm, the more, of course, he's going to be marked. But he's a very strong lad with it, so he's going to take some stopping. But I'd like to see him use the ball in both hands occasionally.
Yeah, can you think, Peardy, of any player, particularly skillful ball playing forward, who could offload right-handed and left-handed?
Only Arthur Beetson.
Could he do it with both? There's been plenty, you know, cock the right arm, like Ian Roberts, like John Cartwright, like Solomon Hamono.
Yeah, I guess everyone has a favoured side, but a lot of good ball players were ball players that used both hands, like Lockwood and Arthur Beetson, of course. And Kosef, too. I could nearly put him, not in their class just yet, but player Kosef.
Manly are putting on exhibition football here now, and West are going to do it well to contain them. Last tackle, 20 metres out, Kosef. He's run into trouble, but he gets it out somehow to Hopewadi. He kicks, toe to head and leads. Manages to take it and brings it back. I just had the feeling then if it had gone through Leeds that Hopewadi would have scored.
Oh, he's had a fine game, Hopewadi, today. And you've got to pose the question, I suppose, for Bob Fulton. When Terry Hill, who's been out for 6 weeks, and Danny Moore as well, who's out for a couple, if it's the centres, Hopewadi, especially Hopewadi, keeps playing as well as he is now, well, what does he do? Does he put one of those international centres on the wing?
Well, on the wing, you just don't get the ball as often, do you? And it's a totally different style of position compared to wing. Here's Tony Wall.
Well, as far as a damaging ball runner goes, I think Hopewadi's probably the best they've got at Manly, him and Menzies. As far as actually making breaks go, beating tacklers.
Paul Bell kicks through. Ridge has got it covered, though, and changes pace well to beat Bell.
And clearing, guys.
There was more defence coming up in the shape there of Wall.
And this guy too, Elsgood, if he keeps playing as well as he has done in recent weeks, he's got to start to put some pressure on those suspended players as well.
I'm sure Bob Fulton will be assessing his strengths, but ultimately I reckon there's a lot to be said for when you're on a good thing, stick to it, and Manly have won a lot of games this year with Moore and Hill in the centres, haven't they?
Oh, sure. I mean, you know, he probably will stick with them, and it's probably a wise decision too, but great position to be in, isn't it?
Manly have made a mistake here, have lost the ball. Their handling hasn't, in fact, been as good as West today. They've dropped the ball 11 times to West 5, but Manly have done a lot more with the ball. Might have put it down a few times, but they've been far more dangerous every time. In fact, every play the ball, Manly have been dangerous. The West crowd haven't given up trying to get a penalty out of referee West, for Manly holding them down. Once again, West are 25 metres out. This is close to a penalty. Dooley finally plays it back to Grieve, knocked down on the 20. It's too slow, that play the ball though. Georgalis gives it up to Pearson. 10 out. Plenty of players on the right. Georgalis wrapping around Langmack. Out it comes to Bell. Takes the tackle though. Gillespie is the tackler. Georgalis kicking on the last tackle. Elsgood goes back, Ridge goes back. It's dead though. Right in the corner. The kick might have gone dead, but unlike some of the others from West in the game, it was worth the go. It was dangerous, just almost hanging up in the corner.
He's trying hard, Stevie Georgalis, today. There it is, a little grubber kick through. Looked like it may have come off Cliff Lyons' boot. In the end, it just runs dead. Manly get a chance 20 metres out from their own line. He's been a great player for them this year, Stevie Georgalis. He's probably been, well, along with Paul Langmack, he's probably been the standout for West.
Jack, I'll ask you the question that everyone's asking me. They're probably asking you all week. If it's a Canberra Manly grand final, who's going to win?
Oh, jeez. Depends who's playing. Depends on injuries.
If they're at full strength.
They're both at full strength. Oh, gee, I don't know.
Which is the assumption you have to make if you bother to answer it.
I don't know. I'd have to think about that one. I don't want to make a rash decision now and have to live with it.
Live with it when you're talking to either the Manly or Canberra players.
Yeah, exactly.
And of course it might not be them. Cronulla, Newcastle, Brisbane, Bulldogs, Roosters, North, St George, Auckland, whoever's going to make that final 8. Certainly wouldn't be conceding a Canberra Manly grand final, but they do look to be clearly the two best teams in the competition over 20 rounds of football.
I'll tell you what, there you see Matthew Ridge finding out. I'll tell you a huge advantage Manly have got over the other contenders in the semi-final race is goal kicking at this stage. Matthew Ridge is by far and away the best goal kicker in the competition.
He's certainly superior to David Furner.
We saw last night David Furner. We've seen a lot this year just how much David Furner has struggled with his goal kicking. Of course, Brisbane, Julian O'Neill's a good kicker, but he's not the same class as Ridge. And I think they're the three contenders. The rest of them I don't think the rest of them can win it.
So you're not rating Cronulla, even though they've beaten all the top sides in the last month or two? Rating them to win the grand final.
I rate them a fantastic football team, Cronulla, and I think they've had a great year, but I really think it'll be fought out between the big three, Manly, Brisbane and Canberra, with Manly and Canberra probably the favoured two out of those three.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you, really. Own 30, they're down by 26 points. Manly in control of this game, leading at half-time by 24 points to 8. It's now 34 to 8. Langmack almost intercepted by Roberts. Dunn's got it with 6 more tackles. Bill Dunn almost breaking away. In that play the ball far too slow though. West have got to get to their feet quicker. And it's not only that Manly are holding them down, West have got to make more of an effort to get up quickly, even if it only results in intimidating the referee to giving them a penalty. Langmack keeps on going, throws it inside. Leeds can't take the pass though. Might have been a Manly hand in there interfering with Leeds' attempt to take it, but he couldn't pull it in.
Yeah, nice little dummy from Paul Langmack. Great work from Kosef. Had he not made that tackle, I think it was all over. And Andrew Leeds just comes up with the knock on. Someone had a few words to him. It's not like the Manly plays.
Well, there has not been the fire that was talked up during the week. Memories of those fiery clashes at Lidcombe Oval between West and Manly. Well, that really has died away over the last 10 years or so. With Tom Raudonikis coaching West for the first time back in a Magpie cap. Since 1979, it's been a different story in the lead up to the game, but it's been the same story in the game.
For the sake of rugby league, Warren, aren't we glad that we don't see those scenes anymore?
Oh, sure, the all-ins and the high tackles. Not so much, sorry, I should say. The all-ins are a blot on the game, but I've always stuck to my opinion, and I was part of it, that it was more a case of intimidation rather than violent play. I don't think there were many head-high tackles or elbows to the faces, that sort of thing, but there certainly were some punches thrown back in those days.
And what he's gone for a blatant forward pass, I think that's the one there. No, hang on. Play on. This was the one here. I don't know which one it was. Pretty hard to see from that angle anyway.
West get another chance. Ian Roberts gets a rest, and I'm sure he'll be enjoying the break, because it is very warm out there. Justin Durley for West. The Manly defence has been impressive all day. It's been tough. There's been sting in it. At the time it was Carroll Ashby, and you wouldn't find two more bruising defenders than those two.
And Menzies back in the forwards, Warren. He looks more at home there, doesn't he?
I think he's been there for most of this half, hasn't he, John?
Yes, he has.
Yeah, he does certainly set himself better there. Closer to the play and closer to Cliff Lyons. He can follow Lyons rather than having to wait for Lyons to serve the pass up to him. Williams, long pass out for Langmack. He decides to go to Bell. There's Cliff Lyons and Hopewadi up in defence once more. Last tackle. Dooley somehow ends up with it and kicks high. And Rich comes forward. He can't get hold of it. Referee hasn't waved 6 more. And now he rules, well, it's a Manly ball anyway. I think he was going to give a handover, but it's a Manly ball. Homono. West's game seems to be breaking down. The fact that Dooley ended up with the ball on the last tackle there to kick.
Game a little flat at the moment, Warren. It's just that one of the West trainers has asked me to say hello to Colin and Stacey right at Ningen. I've got that out of the way.
You had to preface that with the game's a bit quiet now, just in case we didn't believe you, didn't we?
Here's Menzies.
So it's plug time. Don't forget all the Canterbury Bankstown supporters and all rugby league supporters. Terry Lamb, the great Terry Lamb, plays his last game at Belmore next week, so you want tickets to that game, get in now because they're going fast.
Good kick by Ridge, finds touch 30 metres out. So that the crew keep doing their job for us. Jeff on the crew wanted me to say hello to, I think it's his nephew, Leif Hamilton, 12-year-old, down in Nowra, who had a very, very serious back operation, spent a week in hospital. He's watching the footy this afternoon. And Leif, I hope you're improving. I hope you're enjoying the footy.
Anyone else down there, Peter? You want to say good day to anyone?
Line up. We'll get a queue at the doorway here. I'm afraid this game has really not had much spark in it. West led 8-6 when they scored 2 tries around the 15th minute of the game. Looks like they might make a shake of it. But once Manly got on top, that's been the story. Dooley feeds it back well to Hughes. And the crowd at last appeased as referee West penalises Hasler for holding down in the tackle.
Yeah, he's lucky not to cop 10 in the bin. Graham West has had a running battle with Des Hasler all afternoon for that offence, holding down in the play of the ball, coming in as a late tackler. And I think if Desi Hasler does it once more, he'll find himself in the bin.
Well, you wonder why he would bother, because West really aren't putting the attack together enough to worry Manly, and there's a televised game, exposes Manly's, well, faults, if you like, or the symptoms of their game. Here's another penalty. And West go on with a quick tap. Darren Burns is out there for West, number 26. He joined them at the beginning of the year from Logan City in Brisbane. They had high hopes that he would really come on this season. Player who is believed to have plenty of potential, but he spent most of the year in reserve grade after starting in first grade. Here he is now. This is Darren Burns. I believe the Bulldogs were chasing him last year. West's managed to sign him. Georgalis. Willis was standing still. He couldn't quite work out whether Steve Georgalis wanted him on the outside or the inside. And in the end, the ball went to ground. Hancock. Carroll. That's Cement Gillespie's turn. He offloads to Hasler, just sneaking up the middle, taken by Burns. Play the ball, came away from the feet of Hasler and went wide. It's clearly play on, even though the crowd yelled. There was nothing wrong with it. And the last tackle, back to Lyons. And he kicks away from Leeds in the end. It took the bounce. Cliff Lyons, kicking game along with Matthew Ridges. Is always a very handy backstop for Manly when they decide not to run it, and often they do run it, but it just keeps the opposition going backwards and invariably finds touch if Ridge or Lyons wanted to. Stewart and Grief, both of the starting props on the bench.
He got a bit of a run last week against Penrith, Billy Weepu. They got big plans for this youngster. Very much the Adam Ritson mould. Same size as Adam Ritson. Good ball skills. He's been coming along in their juniors for a couple of years now, and they expect him to take over from the likes of Gillespie when he decides to give it away, which will probably be at the end of next year.
Brad Hughes for Wests. Manly leading 34 points to 8 with 7 minutes to go. Don't forget to join us during the final series every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock with our Finals Fever show. We'll bring you the action from the semis and the finals in that program every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. Here's Justin Dooley out of a tackle. He's got some speed. Here's Darren Burns now. He's passed straight to Stephen Menzies. Well, Chris Williams was backing him up. Maybe Williams called for it, but Burns couldn't have looked. If he did, he certainly would have seen Stephen Menzies alongside him.
It was a great break by Dooley. Hamano, they're missing the tackle there. Good inside ball to Burns, and just a rush of blood. No Western Suburbs players there whatsoever. Only 3 Manly players, and one of them had to get it.
West's going towards 1996. Probably lose Jim Sedaris.
Well, they have
Manly.
lost Jim Sedaris.
Is it absolutely definite? I mean, I know there's no doubts, but is it confirmed?
Yeah, Jim Sedaris has confirmed it himself.
I thought he just said that he was still talking to them, but he didn't. No, he said he had signed.
Yep.
Anyway, it's odds. Well, we know he was going to go. And then Glenn Grief is believed to be going to Newcastle. And Justin Dooley has signed with Super League, so presumably he'll have to leave, even though I believe that he's pretty happy with the Magpies. Kosef goes wide out to Elsgood. West will have to find some replacements for them. Elsgood has a chance here, chasing into the end goal. West get back. Elsgood skids to ground. Good chase in the end from Paul Bellantoni. Ball for West.
Well, hasn't he hit a purple patch, Jack Elsgood? We all know what he's capable of. He's had a couple of years in the wilderness for whatever reasons, and he's back today with a vengeance. And at his best, he's as good a winger as there is, Warren.
A good sign of that too is it shows he's got confidence. The way he put that kick through back to himself, it shows his confidence is up. I mean, that's hard. When you've got the ability, if you're confident, well, it makes you the player that you're capable of being.
And he's as good as they come as far as wingers go. Elsgood at his best.
Georgiala still chipping away. Brad Hughes receives some attention for West. Manly can look forward to the return of Jeff Tuvey probably next week. The week after that, Danny Moore. The week after that, Terry Hill. Shannon Nevins out there for Manly, number 14. Cunningham. 4 minutes to go. Manly have managed to score 10 points in the second half. West haven't added to their tally. And a lacklustre second half. Here's Kosef, one of Manly's better players when it mattered. Also made 18 tackles, Nick Kosef. Ridge to Lyons, to Cunningham. He's lost it, went forward. Cunningham hurt in the tackle.
And he's just a bit pooped, old OJ, a little bit tired.
He's just come back from suspension, a couple of weeks out after a high tackle, so maybe the match fitness is just down a little in these hot conditions. Temperature was predicted to get up into the high 20s here at Campbelltown today.
It's almost time to get your Malibu out, Warren. It's almost time to get your boogie board out again.
Get the wax out.
The esky lid.
Manly been penalised inside the 5 from the scrum. The back's up too quickly. The penalties are now 8-6 in favour of West. The kick hasn't found touch. Nevins lost it. It went back. Graham West nods. Play on. Would have been a lot worse for West, but surely they should have found touch. West have to meet Illawarra next week. And there's Langmack up to take an intercept. I don't know whether he was offside. He was on the sprint, but he was a mile.
It's the best ball he's got all day.
He was right up in there. Only, what, one pass wide of the ruck. Justin Dooley now. Can West get a try? They have been down here and Manly's defence has frustrated them repeatedly. Not as if West haven't had field position, plenty of occasions. Willis is in space and he was going to come around. Matthew Ridge, very unhappy that out wide Manly opened up so easily, and he comes across to have a chat. But Darren Willis has galloped, romped really into the gap there, almost uncontested. 34 points to 12 in favour of Manly as Langmack throws the pass. It was a good pass out to Darren Willis, but Manly really had nodded off. They'd gone to sleep out wide there.
Yeah, hard to keep up your intensity when you're ahead by this much. Beautiful ball from Paul Lang. Nothing special about that ball. It's a good decoy run, and Hank Hancock, I think it was, Craig Hancock came in on a player who ran the decoy. Just a little bit of an experience there by Craig Hancock. Of course, doesn't normally play in the centres. He's a winger by trade, and a good try to the Magpies.
I think it must be Craig Hancock playing in the centres with Menzies having moved into the forwards.
Yeah, it is, and Nevin on the wing.
So Pearson is taking over the goal kicking from Andrew Leeds.
So Bob Fulton wasn't happy at half-time. But wait for this kick. He's missed that one.
Wasn't a good-looking kick at all from Brandon Pearson. West have scored a try in the second half. That's something. It's 34-12 to Manly.
Yeah, Langmack showing just what a key player is for West. He sums this up nicely. Hancock just came in off the line, just a fraction. Good player, Craig Hancock, playing in the centre in the second half. And there's Langmack, who's probably had one of his best seasons at the ripe old age of 29. But that's it, Warren.
Yep. It was a sleepy second half, there's no denying that, but Manly showed enough brilliance in the first half to show why they are leading the competition. And at full time, the Sea Eagles victors, 34 points to 12, and they move back to equal competition leaders with Canberra.